Hi everyone, my name is Nairi Kerdolian. Thank you for joining this new session of the Supply Chain Leaders webinar series today. Firstly, a big thank you to our speaker, Pascal Assoun. Pascal, you joined Adisseo in May 2019 as the Global Supply Chain Director. In this role, you're responsible for overseeing the company's global supply chain strategy and driving the distribution network for all flows within strategic business units and sales regions to maximize process efficiency and productivity and enhance customer satisfaction. You previously had a track record stretching over 30 years in the supply chain field across various industries. FuturMaster really appreciates you taking the time to share your experiences with us on how Adisseo Supply Chain is supporting the company's ambitious growth plan through a digitalization project. The presentation will last about 30 minutes and will be followed by a 15-minute Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions as we go through the presentation, you can ask them using the Q&A section of your screen. I'll now hand over to Pascal to begin the presentation.
Thank you very much, Nairi. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to run this presentation of Adisseo Global Supply Chain and our next steps on digitalization. So first of all, so what is about Adisseo and what is his most, I would say, involvement in the food industry. So you can see here you have on this slide the overall food industry integrated chain, and from production of vegetables to food, exactly what you eat on a daily basis. And Adisseo is on the raw materials business, production and producing and manufacturing and distributing nutritional additives, which are mixed to, I would say, the main ingredients feeding the animals. Okay? These animals are mostly poultry, pigs, and cows. Okay, and now as well, we are working on the aquaculture. So our vision is we are very proud in Adisseo because our vision is mostly, to feed the planet, with the highest quality possible. And this is a very obviously proudly business, and our products are very similar to health products because we are providing ingredients to feed the entire planet, being among the three biggest feed additives producers worldwide. So Adisseo is a very big company belonging to a global, I would say, multi-billion Chinese company called ChemChina, for which the turnover is about 56 billion euros. So it's a huge structure, and we are belonging to ChemChina through another company called BlueStar, which is one of the main subsidiary of ChemChina. So it's a big chemical, I would say, consortium and structure, not only in China but worldwide. So our key figures, our sales, are about 1.5 billion euros. So we have a lot of customers, around 4,000 customers around the world. A lot of plants, 15 plants worldwide, 2 big platforms, a lot of distribution centers also, and 10 research and development centers. So you can see that it's quite a very big organization worldwide. And when I say worldwide, I said everywhere in the world. So there is not a place in the world where you cannot find an Adisseo structure, organization. The American continent is among, our main places where we distribute and sell our products, because people are consuming a lot of meats in North America and South America. So these are two very important regions of the world for Adisseo, but not only. So Europe is also very important. And then we have the growing regions such as Middle East and Africa, the India, China, and the Asia Pacific, in which, obviously here the business keeps on growing year after year, because people eat more and more meat, more than before, and especially poultry. The place of poultry in the meat consumptions is growing year over year, when cows and pigs consumption is decreasing. So we are providing a lot of different products to feed the animals. We are providing products to help them growing. These are called the acid amine. Us human beings, we also have to eat this acid amine if we want to grow properly. So this is mandatory for growing. But we are also providing a lot of different kinds of products for animal comfort, such as feed digestibility, animal protection, against different disease, mycotoxin, for instance, and also aromas, to help animals, enjoying more the food, we are providing them. So very wide range of products, to help the animals growing properly and be more comfortable in terms of digestions, etc. We have a very ambitious growth plan. So we want to be over 2 billion euros within the next 4 to 5 years. And as a matter of fact, as a consequence, we need the supply chain, to support the growth. I will be a bit more specific on this later on. So Adisseo is part of a very long story, of a growing business starting in 1939, when for the first time a company called AEC managed to synthesize, the acid amine chemically for the first time. This was really the start of the company, and the company belonged to French Ron Poulenc and Aventis, and was acquired in 2006 by KM China. Since that time, the growth continued to be very much sustained by the policy of our shareholders and the marketplace. So what are the challenges and what is the structure of our supply chain if we zoom on that? So we have a global supply chain organization in which we are working on a matrix standpoint, with a lot of different organizations. We have two kinds of organizations. First of all, we have the strategic business units, and we also have the regions over the world. So we have 3 strategic business units and 7 regions all over the world. And we are coordinating all the supply chain activities through these, local or regional organizations and business units organizations. As we said previously, we have a lot of different activities around the world. We have some manufacturing activity which we own ourselves. This is mostly the case for the methionine. Methionine business is the acid amine business. So, and here we have 2 kinds of products, the liquid and the powder. And we also have 2 other business, the vitamins, as I said previously, and the specialties, for which, I would say industrial footprint is a little bit more fragmented. and in which we have quite a few outsourcing activities. So we purchase our products to tollers, or we ask tollers to provide us with some raw materials, also or some semi-finished products to finally manufacture the final product. Okay, so you can see here the footprint. It's mostly in Europe, okay, as you can see, but we also have, a very big plant in Nanjing in China, and also a small one in the United States. The main plants in Europe are in France. Okay, and so if we go now to the methionine business, you can see that it's very much integrated. I won't spend so much time on that, but you can see that we have three main plants. We have a plant called Les Roches, another four main plant in France, sorry, three main plants, Les Roches. We have Commentry and Roussillon, three plants working together, one providing raw materials for the two others. And we have one other big plant in Burgos, Spain, for the methionine, and another one in Nanjing, as I said previously, in China. So all these plants are working, to manufacture the methionine liquid and the methionine powder, which is either distributed directly to our customers or stored in our distribution centers to be consolidated with other Adisseo products, such as specialties. Okay, so here you can see the different products we have and the footprint. So some are manufactured in our plants, and some others, as I said, are outsourced in other countries of Europe. So a little bit more complex, much more SKUs, much more products than for the methionine. Okay, and here again, the products are shipped directly to our customers when it comes to big orders, full trucks or full containers, or consolidated to our distribution centers located. We have two main big distribution centers, one in France and another in the US, and they are then consolidated with other products to be delivered to customers. And the vitamins business is mostly a trading business. So most of the products are sourced in China. Okay, but the vitamin A is manufactured in our plant in Commentry in France, in the center of France. So what are the main challenges for our supply chain? We have 8 big challenges, actually. First of all, Adisseo ambitious plans needs to be addressed by a very much structured organizations. And if you want to be structured, you need to go the more global possible. For many years, the company manufactured and distributed only 2 products, the methionine liquid and powder products. So the supply chain was pretty easy to manage, only 2 products, quite easy. You don't need, to be that much structure and to be that much global when you have such a simple, I would say, such simple challenges. But over the past years, the company got diversified and, integrated these new businesses of specialties and vitamins. And as a consequence, the supply chain became a much more complex. And then you need to obviously get standardized as much as possible when you go bigger and bigger. So global is probably the first challenge of the company. Number 2 is integrate new companies. Okay, so we are acquiring over the years. We have acquired new companies, smaller than our, but very different, very, very different, and in which the culture is very different. The complexity is different. And we got to integrate that in our systems, in our procedures, in our process. in our IT systems, and obviously it's a challenge. The working capital optimization is also something we focus on very much, especially over the past 3 years, because the service level to customers is already at a very high level, and we are very proud of that. So we have a notice which is very good, very close to 97, 98% in most of the cases. And our main challenge is to keep, inventories, at a very good level. And we are putting, a lot of resources and efforts, to ensure that, despite the fact that we want a very high level of service, we will not, at the same time, increase inventories sky high. The first challenge is to ensure the road to digitalization. Very important, and the FuturMaster project was the first step in supply chain for that. And there's going to be more to come, but the tools, are very, very important for Adisseo, and at the moment, we still need, to catch up, on the tools. We also have to optimize the production flows. Why is that? Because some of our plants are producing the same product on regions which are very different one to another, and it is very important for us to find the right balance through the production flows and to cope, with a lot of, I would say, geopolitics issues such as tax and duties. I will have a word later on the next slide on that, but it's pretty much a challenge. And the logistics setup as well. We have many distribution centers around the world, and we deliver our products very far from the production source or from the distribution centers, by ocean, when it's very far, when it's, overseas, by train, by rail, by pipeline, sometimes by plane. So we are using everything. So we are on a quite hostile environment when it comes to logistics, also because, some of our products are considered as dangerous, hazardous products, and they need to be treated with a lot of care, and safety is very important. So our logistics setup needs to be very efficient, and actually it is very efficient. We have a very good teams in logistics in Adisseo, used for many years, to work in this hostile environment. The distribution efficiency also very important. Why? Because here again, when you are delivering hazardous products, it's more expensive than delivering, standard products. So you need to make to make it as cheaper and efficient as possible, because it's more expensive than carrying, as I said, hazardous products is more expensive than standard ones. And finally, we have to manage the increasing number of SKUs, and it's not a small challenge for us. And even if compared to other companies, we don't have that many SKUs, but the point is that on a very, very little timing, some years, 3 to 4 years, we went from 2 SKUs to 1,500 SKUs. And you have to deal with that when you are not used to it, and it's for us, it's a cultural challenge, I would say. So how do we tackle this challenge? The creation of a global supply chain, as I said, is key. So we have to build bridges, between all the organizations, and this is the role of the global supply chain, also to ensure the rollout of the best practices, of the unicity of the processes, and to reinforce the expertise of the teams. So we need to decrease the complexity, so to create standards, get common KPIs, common reports, make it as simple as possible, and also clarify the roles of everybody. Obviously, we need to go to digitalization, as I said. So Janus was the first step. Our project Janus with FuturMaster was our first step, but we plan to deploy other digitalized solutions within the next year, such as distribution resource plannings and an integrated track and trace. We have to also ensure that all our processes and tools are very much robust, and first class. So we have redeployed the sales and operation planning process recently, 1.5 years ago, to ensure that we go demand driven and we are deploying the right best practices around the entire organization. We also need to increase the expertise of the people. Supply chain, the global supply chain is something which is not so old in Adisseo, and one of our challenge, is to educate the people, ensure that they have the right level of skills, and that they can be able to use all these digitalizations tools. And finally, we need to, as I said, to optimize the global production and logistics flows. So we need to deal with these geopolitical situations of tax and duties, such as, for instance, the high level of tax which happened to be implemented in the United States 4 years ago, which unfortunately, changed totally forced us to change totally our distribution plan for our liquid methionine. So we had to couldn't ship from China to the US any longer because it was too much expensive because of the taxes, to have to rebalance everything, and it's quite a big challenge, and we need to find also alternative routes and alternative way of delivering our products, such as rail and fluvial, and find also more efficient and cheaper freight routes. And it's quite a challenge at the moment, because, as you know, we have an unprecedented, I would say, a crisis on the ocean freight, which keep us very busy in finding alternative solutions to be as efficient as we were in the past. So 1.5 years ago, we took the decision to focus, on the inventory management. Very important, because our products, as I said, they are very well distributed to our customers. We have a very nice OTIF. We want to keep it. We have very good rates from our customers when it comes to customer satisfaction surveys. But we need, to focus on inventories as well, and that's what we do now. So 1.5 years ago, we changed the name of the sales and operation planning process to SIOP. Obviously, I standing from inventory, and it gave pretty good results, because that put a higher focus to the teams, especially in the meetings, in the SIOP meetings, on inventories, and we are now very good, monitoring of the inventories in our company. So the SIOP process, I will go pretty quick on that. I think that most of the people know about the S&OP or SIOP process. The big change, for us, was to put, the FuturMaster tool as the first step, the demand review, which changes a lot of things. But we have a very classic, Oliver Wright S&OP process, with first the demand review around the day 7 of each month. Now with the help of the FuturMaster demand review suite. Then around the day 15, we have the supply and inventory reviews. So we check that, what has been forecasted can be actually manufactured and delivered on time within the next 3 and 6 months. We have a global consolidation with corporate finance to provide an executive summary to everybody, all the stakeholders, and the decisions which have been taken, especially on the step number 2. And if we have some topics to be decided at a very high level, then we ask our COMEX, our executive committee, to cascade the decisions based on the different scenarios or recommendations we would have made on the step 2 and 3. So quite classic SIOP S&OP process. This refresh of the SIOP process, as I said previously, was handled and started 1.5 years ago. So we have created, kind of, company project initiatives. So we have identified champions to be part of the team. We got the right IT resources. We also have involved pretty much our executive management. We have trained a lot all the key users, on the basics of S&OP, of SIOP, such as the stocking policies, for instance, and the go demand-driven topic. And we have redefined all the KPIs. Okay, and then we have deployed, and we have deployed that in with 4 different steps. Number 1, we have spent a lot of time in cultural change and promoting the process. So we made some roadshows, some trainings. We used some people as role models. Okay, and then we have defined the core model. So we took the specialties business unit to build up the core models. So we have defined everything which was related to the KPI, the dashboards, the integrations of a very big of a company we integrated 2 years ago called Nutriad. We had defined the demand structure, the formats, the supply structure, the meeting attendees and the calendars, the reports. And it took us 4 months to do that with that team of champions. Then we have redefined the KPIs, all the main KPIs, ensuring that they will be standards for everyone in the world of Adisseo. And finally, we said to our executive management that we needed absolutely an APS solution, especially for demand planning, because our sales forecasts were managed on Excel, starting from scratch, every month. Very inefficient process, time consuming. And it was, really the time, to get some proper tools and to get a demand planning solution suite. So we got the green light pretty quickly from our executive management, and we deployed that. We deployed FuturMaster after the selection in 9 months, starting in April 2020 till January 2021. So you can see here the macro planning. So it started with obviously the analysis of the problematics, then the concept and the design. And we had a team of 20 champions, part of that, plus obviously the FuturMaster consultants. And then we have built up the model. So we have adapted the FuturMaster model to Adisseo needs. And then obviously we have tested, we went a dry run, and we went go live end of January. And as we speak, we have finished our 6th cycle of FuturMaster use, starting, as I said, in January. So what are the expected benefits? So we want a global forecast accuracy over 75%. This is our target. We want obviously an inventory decrease. We do not plan for improving service level because we think that we are already at the right level. So we would rather focus on inventory management rather than service level. We want 20% of productivity through the workflow, meaning, we want people to spend more time on it, because when you use a demand planning tool such as FuturMaster, you can work on different kinds of segments, so-called quadrants, in which it is, for some of them, it is a bit useless, to put your hands on it when you want to forecast the products, because the system, the tool can do it much better than a human being. So it's pure productivity. We want a forecast session attendance rate over 90%. So we want everybody to be part and connected to the forecasting sessions every month at the 90% rate. Okay, and obviously we want to increase our expertise in demand planning, because we are starting from scratch. So we created the position of global demand planning functions, and we have asked, all a function called a regional business analysts, which is more a financial function. So we have one region business analyst in each region of the world. So one in Europe, one in the North America, one in Asia Pacific, etc., etc. And we ask these people, to play the role of regional demand planners, under the global demand planning functions coordination. So the key learnings, very important part, key learnings. First of all, and it's a prerequisite, we absolutely need to have the software vendors, so FuturMaster, to understand our business needs. So we don't want to have someone, just providing advices based on, we have the best solution in the world, so you need to use that and that and that features. No, we want them, and it works pretty well with FuturMaster. We want them to, put in our shoes and understand our business prior to provide any recommendation. And this is very important. And it's important for me, it's important for any kind of software which has to be implemented, in an organization. The second thing which is very important is that you need to have, in your teams, in your project teams, people, as much as representative of all the functions and organizations, to ensure that you don't forget anything. You don't forget anything, you don't forget any function, you don't forget any business, and you got everybody on board. So we had a pretty big team, actually, of 20 people, which is big. So it's my biggest team ever so far. But we wanted to be as much as representative of the culture of the company and the organizations. You need a dedicated full-time project leader, also very important, because this is a very, very busy project, and you might think that it's simple, but it's not. It's not simple because you have to define, all the rules, all the screens, all the sequences, all the workflow, all the KPIs, etc., etc. And you need a good coordinator, you need a good project leader, full-time dedicated. Strong change management. So this is very important for us because we were not digitalized so far. So we're working with the Excel spreadsheet. So obviously it was a revolution for Adisseo, still is actually. You can face quite a lot of resistance to change when you implement such a tool, and you need a strong project management educational program. So you need to train and explain. Also find champions, among the users to ensure that they will be good promoters of the system, of the solution. This is very important. And finally, you don't need to underestimate the testing phase. Testing phases are very, very important. Never go live before having a very robust testing phase, because you always discover things that didn't go according to plan. And you need to cope with that, and not at the last moment, not once you are in production. So what are our next steps? Our next steps, obviously, we want to strengthen, the FuturMaster demand planning solutions. So we want to increase the maturity of the stakeholders, to improve their maturity. We want to have a recognized global demand planning functions, and we are just, starting with that. We are beginners. And we also want to leverage, the statistical model tunings, which is a very good, very important feature of the tool, and very important to continue to improve forecast accuracy and reducing the forecasting error. As I said previously, we also want to launch new digitalized IT solutions. The first step will be a DRP, a distribution resource planning, and integrate new track and trace tools, but also others probably within the future. So we are now accelerating these digitalizations in the company. And we want to continue to reinforce the global supply chain organization, which is pretty new in Adisseo. So we need to create this global supply chain spirit, with people. We were a bit, I would say, slowed down over the past year because of the COVID crisis. Because not seeing people, not organizing seminars with everybody in face to face is a bit tough. It's a bit tough if you wanna put cement into the organizations, but we will start it over again when the crisis will be over. And I guess that's it. So I want to thank you for your attention, and now it's time for Q&A, Nairi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pascal, for this presentation and for sharing your experiences and key learnings with us today. Yes, we have received many questions from the attendees, and we're going to try to respond to as many as possible during this 15-minute Q&A session. So let's start with the first question, Pascal. A question about the growth strategy. So what is the impact of Adisseo's external growth strategy on the supply chain?
Well, it's very, very important, Nairi, because we are a very complex organizations, and if we are not, if we do not have a very structured supply chain, we will not be able to support the growth. We are in the business which is growing year after year very much, because people never stop to it. Okay, so we are not impacted by any crisis. So the growth, is still there year after year. So we need to, have the real global robust supply chain to support this growth, because otherwise we will not be able to move forward properly and to keep on, having a good service level to our customers.
Okay, so why do you take the decision to implement a demand planning solution such as FuturMaster?
Well, our sales forecasting process was, number one, very much fragmented. So everybody, all the regions, were using a different process, mostly in Excel spreadsheet. And we didn't have a statistical generation of the forecast, and people had to forecast, starting from scratch. And because it took us a lot of time, they never forecasted, after 3 or 4 months. And this was really painful, especially for the productions, because the productions, they need forecast at least for 6 months, sorry, because they need to plan for their raw material replenishment. And it was always a fight with the sales community to ask them for at least 6 months sales forecast, and it was very painful. So we couldn't keep on moving forward in this kind of way, because as I said previously, our organization is becoming more and more complex, diversified, with a lot of SKUs, with new companies, new people, new culture, and you need to be as standard, as efficient as possible. So this is the reason why we said to our executive committee, this is the time to have an efficient tool.
Okay, very clear. We have a couple of questions of the participants regarding your choice of working with FuturMaster as the software vendor. Can you explain how you made your choice?
Right. Yeah. Actually, what we have pre-selected 4 vendors initially based on first of all our experience. I would say my experience in implementing a demand planning solution previously in other companies. And then we have, obviously build up a request for proposal for each of these 4 different companies. So we choose, companies who already have a good reputation, on the marketplace. And we asked, them to make a first set of demo. After this first set of demo, we pre-selected 2 other companies, and it appears that among these 2 companies, FuturMaster was, for us, after another session of demos with 20 different stakeholders of Adisseo, a very, I would say, detailed demo. It appears that FuturMaster was the best solution fitting Adisseo needs. It was the most user-friendly tool. It was the most easy to use tool, and we also had a good fit, with the pre-sales FuturMaster team. The pricing was also pretty good for us compared to other offers. So for us, in all the criteria, we had put in place for selecting the tool, the demo, and all the answers we received in the requests for proposal. In all the criteria, FuturMaster was scoring the best. So it was scoring the best on as I said, on the user-friendly parts. It was scoring the best on the features. It was scoring the best on the price, on the technical IT structure. So it was scoring the best everywhere.
Wow, thank you for this feedback, Pascal. Now, again, about the demand planning process. So how many stakeholders are involved in this process?
We have a lot of stakeholders in this process. We have roughly 200 people, using the tool on a monthly basis. So our business community is very wide. We have a community of sales managers, our associates, selling Adisseo products in all the regions. So they are the first one who are using the system and modifying the system. Then we have a second community of stakeholders we call the regional business managers. Okay, so they are a step higher in the hierarchy than the sales managers. Sales managers are per country. Regional business managers are per region. Okay, and they are specialized per product. So for instance, we have one regional business manager for methionine for Europe. Then we have the regional directors. Okay, so they are the boss, the sales directors for all the regions. And then finally, we have the business, what we call the business directors. They are the strategic business units, business directors, because in our organization, the sales the sales forecast accountability is at SBU level, a strategic business unit level. So the business directors are there is one business director for specialty, one for vitamin, and a few ones for specialties, because we have a lot of different product categories. They ultimately validate the forecast. And this is coordinated by the regional business analyst and the global demand planner. So many people, 200 overall. But that's good. That's good because each time you bring someone else in the process, you decrease the forecasting error. You bring additional intelligence. So you need to find the right balance between a very big number of people and I would say the smoothness of the process. We think we found it. But maybe through the years we will tune that.
Okay, that's very interesting. And how do you ensure then that these 200 people are on board, stakeholders?
Yeah, so we need to first of all, you need to give them feedback, a lot of feedback on their performance, on their forecast accuracy. You need to keep on supporting them, almost on the daily basis when they have questions, when they have concerns. There's something they don't understand, so you need to babysit them, especially at the beginning very much, being you need to provide a very good support to all the stakeholders to ensure that they have the best comfort possible when they run the process. So I think that this is the best way to ensure that they will be on board. At the moment, we are not yet at 90%, to be fully honest. We are a bit above 80%, which is not that bad of attendance, no? Of people attending all the the forecasting sessions on a monthly basis. But we are pretty confident that we will reach the 90% very soon.
Okay, thank you for this. So next question, how is FuturMaster Solutions helping you to drive the alignment between the strategic business units and the sales regions?
This is a good question. So this is, mostly based on the collaborative, I would say, the collaborative feature of FuturMaster. Because when you bring, the sales managers and the regional directors are part of the sales organization. And on the other side, you got the regional business managers and the business directors who are part of the strategic business unit organizations. And when you put all these people together on the workflow, asking them to work together, then you create a real single and powerful, organizations for your sales forecasting process. I would not say that we are yet at that level. I would not say that because it's too early. But we have created and we are about to create a real single strong sales forecasting organizations because the tool is providing this collaborative workflow in which all people have to speak together and challenge each other on the forecast. They took the decisions to modify or to validate through the process.
Okay, thank you. How do I identify a good project champion?
A good project champion is already someone who is a good leader in his own job. This is the number one, I would say, reason. Then you need to find some people who are motivated. Okay, so the 20 people we asked to be part of the project, we are selected by the fact that they were already identified as good leaders, as very good leaders in their field, and they appear to be very motivated to be part of the team. So this is the reason for us. It was a kind of and for them it was a kind of first time in Adisseo that they were belonging to a project of digitalisation, and that was very exciting for them because they were very motivated. So this is why we have selecting them as champions, mostly, I would say.
Okay, last question now, Pascal. Has the FuturMaster implementation improved the robustness of your sales forecasting process?
Yeah, definitely. It's clearer. It's clearer, much clearer than before. We have now automatic statistical forecasts. Some of them are much more accurate than the one we had before. So we have started to measure the accuracy. We have a single process, only one for everybody in Adisseo. We have a tool, which is, quite, I would say, quite robust. So yeah, I mean, it's totally different than before. And when we ask with some people now, some people, especially French people, I would say, they can, we say that usually that French people, they are never happy, and it's a bit true, huh, sometimes. They can complain, but at the end of the day, when they ask them, so would you come back to the first to the previous process in Excel and BI? And they say, no way, oh, no way, we want to keep FuturMaster. So there is now, I think, after 6 months, there is a kind of, I would say, ownership of the people. So, and nobody would like to come back to what we had before. So there's no doubt about that.
Okay, well, great. Let's close the webinar on this. Pascal, thank you again for your presentation today, and thank you to the attendees for joining us. We are very much interested in having your feedback on this webinar, so please take a couple of minutes to fill in the evaluation survey that we'll be shortly receiving. You will also receive a recording of the webinar by email tomorrow. Thank you again to everyone. Thank you very much, Pascal. That was very interesting. And we wish you all a very good day or evening.
Thank you very much, Nairi. It was a pleasure.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
And bye-bye, everyone. And thank you for